Okay, I am recording.
Okay, good afternoon, everyone. I'm calling this meeting to order at 1:55 p.m. My name is Ben Meza. I'm Chair of the City of San Diego Commission for Arts and Culture Public Art Committee. We are going to do a quick roll call to confirm committee member attendance. When I call your name, please unmute yourself and say present. Commissioner Jason Whooper is not here. Linda Caballero Sotelo.
Present.
Anthony Graham is not expected to be here. Melinda Guillen.
Present.
Larry Herzog.
Present.
Onyun Park is not expected to be here, as Doreen Schomburn is also not expected to be here. And then Tiffany Weighing Bears.
I'm present.
Thank you. Your attendance has been noted. Also joining us today is Commission for Arts and Culture staff, including Chief of Civic Art Strategist Christine Jones, Senior Public Art Manager Chuck Miller, and Civic Art Project Manager Lara Bullock. Before we get into today's agenda, I'm going to call on Chuck Miller to run down some of the guidelines for today's meeting. Chuck?
Thank you, Commissioner Meza. I'll just very quickly, I think we all know the drill about Zoom meetings at this point. Just as a reminder, this is a webinar, so members of the public can join us in real time and may provide comment for agenda items and non-agenda public or comment at the appropriate times. I think I'm going to leave it at that for now and toss it back to you, Commissioner Meza.
Thank you, Chuck. We will now move on to non-agenda public comment. The public was invited to submit public comment on agenda and non-agenda items via a web form accessible through the agenda and the Commission's website. Members of the public may join this meeting as webinar attendees. If members of the public have submitted comments in writing via the web form, staff will read aloud public comments submitted per city public comment protocol. I will call on Chuck to read aloud any non-agenda public comment or call on any attendees who would like to provide comment. Chuck?
Thank you, Commissioner Meza. No comment provided in writing and no attendees. So I will pass it back to you.
Thank you. Regarding chair's report, as there are no action items for September's commission meeting, I have nothing to report at this time. I do appreciate your willingness to meet at an alternate time this month. Thank you for your commitment and flexibility. I hope everyone had an opportunity to review the minutes from September 3rd, 2021. Would anyone like to make a motion to approve the minutes as they are? If you would, please type speak at the chat window. And when I call your name, oops, I lost my pen. Verbally state your name and make your motion. Tiffany?
I move to accept the September minutes as they are written.
Okay. Any second?
I think we have Linda.
Linda?
I second the motion to
Okay.
accept the minutes.
Thank you. And we now have a motion and a second. Is there any discussion? If you'd like to speak, please type speak in the chat window. Now we will take a vote. I will call your name and you will respond out loud with yay, nay, or abstain. Remember that you do not need to have, sorry, I lost my place again. Remember that you do not have to have been present at the September meeting to vote or discuss. Okay, Linda Caballero Sotelo.
Yay.
Melinda Guillen.
Yay.
Larry Herzog.
Yay.
Tiffany Weighing Bears.
Yay.
And my vote is a yay. Thank you. Chuck, please read aloud any public comment for this item that has been submitted in writing and call on any attendees that would like to provide comment on this item.
No public or no comment submitted in writing. And no members of the public in attendance.
Okay. Thank you. Now, this is the action item regarding the final artwork proposal for the Civic Center Public Art Project by M.R. Barnadas. First, we'll do a conflict of interest disclosure. The recommendation affects contracts with M.R. Barnadas. Please assess whether you have any conflicts to disclose. When I call your name, if you have no conflicts, state no conflicts. If you do have a conflict, please recuse yourself from the discussion and voting on the item. Linda Caballero-Sotelo.
No conflicts.
Melinda Guillen.
No conflict.
Larry Herzog.
No conflict.
Tiffany Weighing Bears.
No conflict.
And I have no conflict. Thank you. Now I'd like to call on Laura to introduce MR to present the final proposal and the staff recommendation. Laura?
Thank you, Commissioner Meza. So MR couldn't stay longer than this half hour, so I'm going to present on her behalf. So just to begin, or just to remind you overall, MR Barnadas of Collective Magpie is under contract to create artwork for the Civic Center Plaza or Concourse, and the mural will be located in the breezeway between the vacant commercial space, which used to be downtown Johnny Brown's, and the Evan Jones Parkade. And we'll see images of that as we go through the presentation. So to remind you of kind of the artwork development process and where we are, here's this very familiar slide. So we had the artist open house last week. And so, or maybe it was longer. And so Melinda has created her final artwork proposal. And then this is your role in today's meeting regarding the proposal. So we've gone through several feedback cycles and had several engagement opportunities with the public through the Meet the Artist event and the Artist Open House. So today we are just making a recommendation on the artist's final artwork proposal. So I'm going to switch, I'm going to share the proposal, so bear with me for a second. Here we are. So first of all, MR or Melinda, just wanted to thank everyone who's offered feedback, and anyone who is listening after the meeting or from the public participate and provide feedback. And also thank you to the committee for your time today. This final proposal is reflective of a process that has endeavored to and continues to move towards the goal of inspiring representation and inclusivity in our city. It's important to state that such a pursuit must be an ever active and ongoing and shared effort. So this presentation will include an overview, the civic mural concept and themes, community feedback and outcomes, And you'll see images which have been modified based on feedback and the artists' increasing research and community engagement efforts, as well as a photographic survey of the site. And so we'll move on from here. So to offer a brief overview, this past unprecedented summer, MR spent several weeks in the Civic Center collecting memories and reflections from people who worked, lived in, and used this shared public space in many different capacities. Their memories are archived in the proposed mural with these reflections framed to look towards the future. And it's her hope that the Civic Center Breezeway mural is an opportunity to consider what we here in San Diego would like our town to retain or transform in the future. So here is imagery of MR in residency in the Civic Center Plaza, and also an image in the top right of a banner that was installed with a QR code so people could participate and give feedback and their experience of San Diego that way as well, if they didn't want to interact face to face. So the mural fabrication process is proposed to continue on as a collaborative effort together with the King Chavez Community High School and San Diego Opera. The students will have the opportunity to have a physical hand in creating this mural that will live in the primary outdoor space the school uses. For a high school that has no yard, the mural could perhaps help extend a shared belonging to this area that they use for fire drills and games. The San Diego Opera has generously offered to support this project by supplying PPE and educational resources, together with the labor of the Scenic Studio painters, bringing a level of expertise and interdisciplinary engagement that is exciting for everyone involved. So to restate the primary goal of this project, it is to create a mural in the Civic Center where all aspects are created through local participation to reflect and inspire a representative and inclusive San Diego. To go back to this first slide, the main themes are local nature, civic nature, and transformative possibilities with the help of youth imagination. So the 4 methods for expanding public participation used to develop the preliminary idea were artist in-person events, temporary participatory wall signage, a digital survey for remote employees and passersby of the Civic Center, and a virtual summer youth workshop, in addition to the city's Meet the Artist and Artist Open House events. So participating students of the youth workshop were introduced to the Civic Center Public Art Project, local murals and public art making from her perspective as a local artist, and were supported in sharing their own perspectives. She reviewed and discussed regional artworks with them and the memories collected in the Civic Center together, as well as the project's main themes. The zoomorphic aspects of the mural were a direct outcome of this process. To recap the results of the preliminary idea and schematic proposal, the resulting preliminary idea was presented to PAC on June 4th. A comment was made to consider including a QR code in the mural to give access to the archive of collected memories. And this led to the development of the memory archive becoming the central feature of the mural. The resulting schematic proposal was presented to PAC on September 3rd. This presentation included questions for the committee about potential modifications to the people icons depicted in the mural. The comments received were incorporated in this final proposal, along with a comment about considering colors in relation to mid-century architecture. The public engagement event was held over Zoom on September 27th, the Artist Open House event. The identical schematic proposal presentation was given to PAC. The general comments consisted of extended consideration to the representation of gender in the mural. The comments received are incorporated in this final proposal. So this iterative participatory process resulted in the 160-foot long mural conceived as a framed collection of San Diego memories in 8 parts. This will be a review of the details roughly from right to left. So here, the 81 local memories collected from the Civic Center's public are transcribed and presented on the breezeway door, with each individual's reflection transcribed in its own rectangle. The color shift between rectangles is taken from the rainbow iridescence of fish, translated here as chromatically organized pastels. A midpoint between past and future, this range of pastels also deliberately resonates with the concrete color temperature variation of the surrounding historic Beaux Arts / Spanish Revival style architecture of the Civic Center. The decision to present a transcription of the memories rather than an interpretation of them was inspired from a PAC member's suggestion to create a digital archive for this project, along with the public's expressed curiosity about them. To the side of the store is another text panel. This one will explain the community involvement and participatory stages of this artwork. So at the bottom, you'll see a walkway arrow pointing to the right. So visible in this slide and throughout the length of the mural is the second element, the walkway arrows. 2 long arrows line the walkway, spanning the bottom expanse of the mural, leading passersby to the memories. These arrows consist of squares that repeat the colors of the memory archive. In the squares are icons of people, the kind typically found on public signage, such as ADA, restroom pictograms, etc. The standard public icon typically depicts one universal figure for female and another for male. In the mural, these people icons are expanded upon to reflect a broader range of sizes, shapes, ages, and activities. During the schematic proposal presentations, I requested feedback to these icons. I received helpful comments from PAC members as well as from a member of the public. The suggestion for extended research into the origins of these icons further motivated the research efforts underway and has led to a better understanding of the domestic and international design projects that the mural connects to. These are efforts that look to reinvent icons and pictograms to reflect current and local understandings of equity and representation. The social messaging and everything from icons on bathrooms to depictions of public services like nurses and doctor, concierge and guests, etc., are being reviewed to consider how pictograms can more effectively consider the people currently utilizing those spaces. So within this mural, the icons are expanded to point to more diversity, a broader range of sizes and shapes, ages, activities, and representing the public, both within the Civic Center and across San Diego. To directly address the community suggestions around gender representation, 2 additions have been made. So the first is there are 2 icons wearing skirts in conversation. The first says, hey, do you think folks need to wear skirts for people to know they are women and girls? And the second replies, I'm wearing a skirt and do not identify as either. So next to this exchange is a figure pointing to a collection of gender symbols that hover in the air under the word you of the question, what do you want to remember about San Diego? The gender symbols in the mural have been collected from the public platforms, non-binary wiki and Wikipedia's gender symbol pages, and was cross-referenced with plag.com, among others. Presented with the future-facing context of this mural, like the many different people icons presented in the landscape depicted, these gender symbols are not comprehensive. Rather, they are presented here to be further interpreted and explored by the viewer. The next 4 scenes of the mural depict our city's local nature. This one is an underwater ocean scene. Here, a speculative aquatic trolley, possibly with a fishtail, is in pictorial conversation with an enormous Spanish-speaking tuna, while a large school of smaller tuna passes by. Many local memories were about the local tuna industry, with the most intriguing reflection coming from an extended conversation with a fisherman who spoke of the ancient constancy of the ocean. This giant tuna asked the question with sea beast references to Spanish colonial Mexico, plus an even deeper possible historic tie to medieval Spain. The trolley responds with its own question, reflecting on consumption. The many bananas that appear in the tuna's question are a reference to our port's own present-day maritime usage by Dole to import 180 million bananas a month.
Hey, Laura, sorry to interrupt, but there are some PAC members who might need to leave early. So if we could just give brief summaries of the remaining slides, that would be great.
Okay. This reflects the local beaches that came up in the collection of memories. And this is a generalized beach image. And additionally, while not painted in the mural itself, these slats that you see are actually louvered vents that are in the wall. But when painted and incorporated into the mural, it references the border fence between San Diego and Tijuana. And then this portion of the mural reflects a communicated desire to see more local green space, and especially for the students of King Chavez High School to have like an easier way to access Balboa Park. So taking kind of the reflections from all of the different participants, this is sort of a homogenized view of green spaces meant to sort of reflect in every space in San Diego of sorts. Okay, so it was also clear from the collective memories that participants reside all over San Diego. So in this slide, you see some houses in the lower right corner of this image. And the artist did a lot of research about the different homes in all 9 council districts, and again, has created sort of a homogenized representation of various houses and housing structures in San Diego. There was also a lot of feedback about living in San Diego and the difficulty because of affordability of housing. So that is sort of reflected in these honeybees carrying houses. And then there's a message that says, in the future, everyone will have a home or have a house. So as an entrance or an exit reflection, the mural shifts from imagery to text and asks the viewer, what do you want to remember about San Diego? And this question is accompanied by a San Diego native prickly pear cactus featuring a heart-shaped pad and a bicycle with a rear cart carrying local California sunflowers. And those were miniaturized to be the scale of the people along the walkway. So this final element of the mural will be visible from the street, from A Street, and from the corner of kind of the entrance to the Evan Jones Parkade. And so there are people icons at the bottom, and those pastel arrowed walkways are also evident in this section of the mural as well. But when first kind of noticed, maybe they look like stars and kind of draw you in. But as you get closer, you can see that these are kind of more of those figures of people. So to further illuminate the presentation of diverse public bodies and to offer a crowning gesture towards local inclusivity, the San Diego Civic Center text is framed by the pale pink phases of Venus, reinforcing the project, the Civic Center, and our city with a gesture towards civic love and beauty, encompassing all of the people within San Diego. Here's a close-up detail of the moon phases and the people. And then finally, just a reminder of where this is located. So this is the wall that the mural will be located on. And this is just another, it's from the other side. So from the center of Civic Center looking out towards A Street. And then this is the Evan Jones Parkade entrance, and you can see that little yellow gate. That again, that's the wall where the mural will be located. And then King Chavez High School, you can also see it in this slide. It's that kind of reddish color part of the building. So you can see how close the high school is. So how cool it is that she's involving them in the process. And then overall, here's just a map kind of showing where the high school is, where the mural site will be. Here's the Civic Theater, just to kind of orient you. And just a process slide kind of detailing how the artist will be fabricating using a method.
Hey, Laura, I'm really sorry to rush, but
This is like this is the last slide.
We're gonna lose a member at 2:30, so we should move on to the vote as soon as possible.
Slide. She's collaborating with the Opera Steam Shop to have it created and installed using the mural cloth method. So with that, one second. The recommendation on the table is to recommend to the City of San Diego Commission for Arts and Culture that the Executive Director of the Commission accept the final artwork proposal by M.R. Barnadas in fulfillment of the City of San Diego's collecting mission, collection scope, and accession criteria as established in Section 5, collecting mission, Section 6, scope of the collection, and Section 8.2, accession criteria of the collection management policy for the civic art collection. Thank you.
Thank you, Laura, for a nice presentation on behalf of Amar. We will now take public comment on the item. Chuck, please read any public comment for this item that was submitted in writing and call on any attendees that would like to provide comment for this item.
No comments submitted in writing and no members in attendance. Thank you, Ben.
Okay, thank you. Would anyone like to make a motion to recommend to the commission that the executive director approve the temporary exhibit? If you would, please type speak on the chat window and verbally state your name and make your motion.
Can I just ask really quickly what you
Sure.
meant by temporary exhibit? Is this a temporary installation?
I apologize. That was a typo left in.
Okay.
This is not a temporary exhibit, to clarify. So.
Linda?
Linda Sotelo, I move that we accept the proposal or make the recommendation to accept the proposal as presented.
Thank you. All right. Let's see, Larry.
Larry Herzog, second the motion.
Thank you. Now that we have a motion and a second, is there any discussion? If you'd like to speak, please type speak on the chat window and you will be called in the order of your request comes in. Linda?
I just want to congratulate the artist for such a thoughtful process and also for activating spaces that have been ignored for so long in an urban setting where we have students, and in this case, 99% students of color predominantly. I believe it's also a Title I recipient school. So I think it's a wonderful partnership and a great, really inspirational activity that both the community of students and others can participate. So I just wanted to make that comment that I think it's a really long, far-reaching public art proposal that will really activate those spaces and create a sense of pride and connection.
Thank you very much, Linda. Any more comments? Okay, now we will take a vote. I will call on your name and you will respond out loud with yay, nay, or abstain. Linda Caballero Sotelo,
Yay.
Melinda Guillen,
Yay.
Larry Herzog,
Yay.
Tiffany Weighing Bears,
Yay.
and my vote is a yay. Thank you very much. Now we have a presentation for the preliminary project proposals for the Park Social Initiative by various artists. I would like to call on Chuck to provide an overview of the, excuse me, I keep pressing the wrong button here. Okay, of the initiative and introduce the artists for their presentation. Chuck?
Thank you, Ben. I might just say that I understand that Linda has another meeting that she has to move on to at 2:30. So at that point, we will no longer have quorum to conduct business.
Okay.
So I think we should probably make the call right now, having gotten through the action item. I want to thank everybody, all the Public Art Committee members, for making yourself available at this time. And my apologies that we didn't have a stronger quorum today. But I'm glad we were able to get through Melinda's item. And I know Marisol was in attendance, Marisol and Ingram. I'm sorry, I'll reach out to you as soon as I'm out of this meeting, and we'll coordinate on next steps. So.
Okay, thank you, everybody. Really appreciate you attending, and we will wait to hear from Chuck and his team as to any next steps. This meeting is adjourned. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Thanks, and I'm sorry again for being late. My meeting went over.
No worries.
No
Thank
worries.
you.
Stuff
Bye-bye.
happens.
Yeah. By the way, thank you for all your great input over all these meetings. Really appreciate it.